What's going on, everybody? We're back again here. We're going to take a look at the 2026 men's NCAA tournament bracket, and we're going to make our picks according to Ken Palm. Good old Biff's boy, Ken Palm. Here's the rankings here, as you can see. Duke number 1, Arizona 2, Michigan 3, Florida 4, so all 1 seeds 1 through 4. Houston being the first 2 seed at number 5, Iowa State 6, Illinois 3 seed being 7, and so on. So let's just go ahead and we're going to make each pick based on these rankings here. So let's pull up a bracket. Obviously, Duke, the number 1 seed. So that means we're going to have Duke winning. TCU, we already got one to look at here. TCU versus Ohio State. I believe I looked earlier, and Ohio State, there they are at 26. I don't see TCU here, just to verify. TCU is at 43. So go ahead and plug in Ohio State. Might as well put in Duke right away there because they're 1. I know St. John's is ahead. I'm not going to go through every one, the obvious ones. St. John's is ahead of Northern Iowa. Kansas is ahead of California Baptist. Louisville, I assume, just to verify, is ahead of Southern Florida. Louisville up there at 19, so yeah, they're going to be ahead of Southern Florida. Go ahead and fill that one in there for Louisville. Scrolling on down here. Michigan State, I think I saw them number 8 overall. So obviously plug them in. UCLA, I believe, is above UCF. Verify that one there. Where do we got UCLA here? I thought old Kenny liked UCLA. UCLA. The Bruins, where are you? Did I miss them? Because there's UCF at 54. I know they were up there. UCLA, that's right, 27th. Sorry about that, folks. UCLA, obviously UConn. Even though I think they were the lowest 2 seed on his rankings, is obviously ahead of Furman there. Might as well go back over here. Arizona being 2. Villanova, Utah State. Have to look at that one here. Villanova at 33. They're going to be above. Oh, no, I take that back. Utah State at 29. So there we go. We got the old upset there. Wisconsin is going to be above High Point. Arkansas above Hawaii. BYU and Texas, I think BYU obviously should be ahead. Let's verify that. BYU at 23. I believe I saw Texas lower on the board here. Well, where are they? I know they played last night. There they are. 37. BYU 23. Okay. BYU. Gonzaga, obviously over stupid Kennesaw State. Miami versus Missouri. Take a look at that one. Miami 31. Missouri, where are you? 52. So we're going to go Miami. Obviously, Purdue is going to be higher than Queens on the board. Scrolling down here to the South region, the Florida Gators obviously going to be ahead of the winner of the play-in game tonight. We'll take a look at Clemson, Iowa. Let's see here. Clemson at 35. Where is Iowa on this? Iowa at 25. Wow, they like Iowa. So we will take Iowa. The Vanderbilt is going to be higher than, obviously, McNeese. Nebraska is going to be higher than Troy. North Carolina, VCU. I'm almost certain North Carolina, even though they're down a little bit this year, is going to be higher than VCU. There they are at 30. Go ahead and plug that in for North Carolina. Obviously, Illinois is going to be higher. St. Mary's and A&M. I wanted to look at this. I did not look at this one earlier. Let's see here. Texas A&M or St. Mary. There we are. St. Mary's at 24, so they're above Texas A&M. So goodbye to the Aggies. Obviously, Houston is going to be higher here. Let's go back over to the Midwest region. Obviously, Michigan coming in at number 3 is going to be above Howard there. Georgia, St. Louis. I'm almost certain it's going to be Georgia, but let's just verify. Georgia, 32. Okay, so Georgia gets the nod over St. Louis. Texas Tech is going to be higher than Akron. Alabama over Hofstra. Tennessee is going to be higher than the winner of the playing game tonight. I know Virginia is higher than Wright State. Kentucky, I'm almost certain, is higher than Santa Clara. let's just take a look and see Kentucky at 28. We'll plug them to move on to advance. And obviously, Iowa State is going to be defeating Tennessee. So Tennessee State doesn't matter anyway. All right. And St. John's versus Kansas. I believe Kansas, even though I'm not picking that in my bracket, as I shown yesterday, I believe they are higher than St. John's. St. John's is at 17. Oh, take that back. So Kansas is 21. So St. John's, according to the rankings, moves on. I know that Michigan State is higher than Louisville. I believe they were 9th in the rankings. UConn versus UCLA. UConn is the lowest rated 2 seed, I believe, but there they are at 11. So we'll go ahead and plug them to move on versus UCLA. Florida, obviously higher. Just to verify, I'm almost certain Vanderbilt, even though Nebraska had a decent year. Vanderbilt at 12. Wow, 12 and 14 matchup there. But Vanderbilt does get the edge. North Carolina versus Illinois. Illinois is the highest rated 3 seed, I believe. They move on, and obviously Houston moves on. Arizona, number 2 overall. Wisconsin and Arkansas. Wisconsin at 22. Where's Arkansas? They were having a good year at 15. So Arkansas moves on in that one. BYU Gonzaga. I think Gonzaga's got the upper hand on that one, coming in at 10th. So Gonzaga does move on. Purdue obviously over Miami. Even though they just beat them pretty good, why won't that go away? Go away. Well, it's Florida. Florida beats Vanderbilt according to the rankings. And Houston, slightly ahead of Illinois, moves on to the Elite Eight in that rankings. And Michigan, obviously, coming in at number 3, is higher than Georgia. Texas Tech versus Alabama. That one I can't remember. Where Alabama at 18, Texas Tech at 20. So Bama has a slight edge there. Tennessee, Virginia. That's another close one, I believe. Tennessee at 16, Virginia at 13. Virginia slightly gets the nod. Virginia moves on. Iowa State is higher than Kentucky. As I mentioned, Duke is number 1 overall, and they got the number 1 overall seed. So they are obviously higher than St. John's. And Michigan State, UConn. I think Michigan State was slightly ahead of UConn. Yep, at 9 and 11. So even though the 3 seed there, they move on to face Duke. Arizona, obviously the 2 overall number 1 seed. They move on. Gonzaga, Purdue. It is Purdue. Florida, Houston, very, very close, as you can see here. Florida at 4, Houston 5, but according to the rankings, Florida has a slight edge there, so they advance. Iowa State versus Virginia. Virginia at 13. Iowa State is 6. Wow. So Virginia gets the nod there. Michigan, obviously, is the 3rd overall seed, so they move on. And then Duke, number 1 overall, they're moving on. So is Arizona. And Michigan has a slight edge, 3 versus 6 in the Ken Palm rankings over Iowa State. So we have a Final Four of Duke, the number 1 seed, versus Florida, the 4 seed overall. Arizona versus Michigan. Obviously, Duke is 1 in the rankings. Arizona is 2. So the number 1 rankings, there you have it. He's got all 4 1 seeds. I don't know if it's going to happen this year like last year, but there it is. Duke 1, Arizona 2, Michigan 3, Florida 4. Houston getting the 5th rankings of the Ken Palm rankings at the first 2 seed, and Iowa State 6. So according to the rankings, there it is. That's it. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you would do different. I would do a couple different things. But yeah, anyway, enjoy the tournament tomorrow, folks. Have a good one, and goodbye. Thank you so much for watching. And just remember, don't tick me off. Check yourself and Pets for Ticks. Please sub.